All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizen YouTube, Pastor Dowell. Well, we got breaking news here, and of course, ain't nothing bipartisan about this at all. As a matter of fact, we know that the Democrats have control of the House and the Senate, and this is the reason why that many of you should have been listening to me and advocates like me a long time ago, because we try to tell you exactly what's transpiring, taking place here in this country. We're Americans, no longer land of the free, home of the brave and stuff. We're actually following in the same communist footsteps and stuff as Germany did in Nazi Germany. But this bill right here has to do with the House passes gun legislation that would expand background checks. And of course, people don't give a damn about what the history of it says and what's going on, but the Democrats are tasting blood, and it's really truly no big deal. I mean, think about this for a second, because if you're like a lot of Americans who, as soon as Democrats, we know they're getting in and stuff like this, you probably have went out and already bought all the firearms you can. All you got to do is just hold on for a few more years until the Republicans get back in office. Just don't go buy no more firearms right now. I mean, to avoid that. I mean, that's just the way these people operate. That's just the way they do things. Am I making sense? So, I'm going to go ahead and read you this for a second for those of you that are on the road and stuff. So Pastor Dowell is going to inform you the best way I can. Of course, guess who the first news media to post it up at? CNN. All right, so here it is, 12:43, and out there on the other side of the world, let me see, on the campaign trail, Biden pledged to end gun violence. You ain't never going to end gun violence. I remember there was a video out, he told people to get a rifle, and there's people literally knocking themselves on their rear end with a rifle, and he tried to tell you that an AR is dangerous and all this other stuff. It's just crazy. But anyway, House passes gun legislation that would expand background checks, all right? Washington, CNN. The House passed gun legislation that would expand background checks on all commercial gun sales, marking the first congressional move on significant gun control since Democrats won the House and a majority in both chambers of Congress. House passed the legislation in two separate votes. The first vote on the H.R. 8, the Bipartisan Background Checks Act of 2021, passed 227 to 203 and would expand background checks for all firearm sales and transfers in the country. Currently, background checks are not required for gun sales and transferred by unlicensed and private sellers. First of all, if you don't think background checks are required every time you go fill out something, I still think they're using it anyway, but that's my own personal opinion. Hey, anyway, that's just where it is. So anyway, and 8 Republicans supported the legislation and 1 Democrat voted against it. So if there was 8 Republicans that voted it, then we need to find out who those 8 Republicans were and get them out of office. Get them out come this midterm right here. The 8 Republicans were Vern Buchanan of Florida, get him out. Brian Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania, get him out. Maria Salazar of Florida, what's wrong with y'all? Get him out. Andrew Garbino of New York, get him out. Chris Smith of New Jersey, get them out. Fire them. Fred Upton of Michigan, get him out. Carlos Gimenez of Florida, and Adam Kinzinger of Illinois. I can understand the New York and the Illinois and the New Jersey, but Florida, 3 of them in Florida, man, what in the world is going on? And sometimes I try to sit up and give Florida accolades. It's off the chain. Separate legislation of H.R. 1446 introduced by the Democrat and Republican Jim Clyburn of South Carolina and called for an enhanced background checks. You know what, this makes me wonder if that one representative down there named Marjorie, I forget her name is right now, in Georgia, because she's doing a dang good job. Her and then people like the governor in South Dakota, man, it's remarkable how their voices are trying to be stifled, but them are the people we need to be supporting. Let me go on. All right. Enhanced background checks of 2021 passed 218 to 210 would close what's known as the Charleston loophole, which allows some licensed gun sales to go through before a required background check is done. Using that loophole, Dalen Roof was able to legally purchase a firearm to kill 9 people at a historical black church in Charleston, South Carolina in 2015. First of all, background checks is not what killed them. Dalen Roof chose as a rogue individual to go and to a soft target. That means this is a place where he know he can go in there and have a make your day moment, because schools, government buildings, and churches. are some of the places that are the least amount protected in the. And hey, criminals ain't gonna go. They're not gonna come here the straight way. They're not gonna come to any or gun shop. They're not gonna come to any church or assembly to where they know that the people are armed, because they know they're gonna have a firefight on their rear end. And before then, we're probably gonna sniff them out anyway. So they go to soft targets. People who are so-called law-abiding citizens. How can you be a law-abiding citizen when you're already breaking the law? And if you're biblical, you're definitely breaking the law of Yah, because Yahshua told you in Luke 22:36 that if you don't have a sword, you sell your cloak and go buy one. Abraham armed his trained servants to go out and to get in the fight in order to retrieve his nephew. I mean, what in the world? Yah, God is a man of war. What in the world y'all people coming from and all this stuff? So the background checks and all this other stuff. Look, guns ain't evil. I told you, I did it 1,000 times. I'm going to do it again on this just to prove y'all point. Look, they say guns kill people. No, guns like a car, like a tool, like a knife, like a hammer, anything else can be used to kill people, even a baseball bat. So let's see. Today, I'm going to have a make my day moment, and I'm going to see if I die. There are 3 guns up here. All right? There are 3 guns up here. All of them are SIGs. All right? All right, I dare any one of y'all to jump up off that counter right there. All of you are loaded and shoot me. I dare you to do it. Because they don't have no prison to put you in. I mean, there ain't no judge or jury is going to convict you. You're an inanimate object. You can't move unless you're in my hand. I tell you what, if y'all are really that powerful, move on your own. Go ahead and move. Come on, gun. I mean, after all, you're the villain. You're the bad boy. Come on. Move. Damn it, jump up and shoot me. Anyway, it ain't going to happen. It ain't happened a long time ago, and it still ain't going to happen now. Let me finish this real quick, all right? 2 Democrats oppose the legislation. Ron County, Wisconsin, and Golden, and the Republicans who voted for the legislation were Representative Brian Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania and Chris Smith of New Jersey. Jesus. These people were practicing their faith, and their faith were taught them to welcome in a stranger. And the stranger came to the door, and they welcomed into their Bible study. He sat with them for an hour, Claiborne said, and on the House floor Wednesday, the stranger that they had welcomed in had opened fire and killed 9 of them, and one of them was the pastor, a former intern of mine. Well, okay, I got a different story. All right. First of all, you come in, you looking suspect. Here straight away, you're gonna have about 2 or 3 people on you. You're not gonna know it, but I promise you're gonna be on you. You make one subtle move, one just inch of a move in the wrong way, where you look like you want to actually come and do some hurt, harm, and danger to my brothers and sisters in this assembly right here. Before you even get that firearm off your shelf, off of your side, out of your backpack and stuff, you're probably going to have about 20 of them in your head. See, that's the way you do it. You prepare. You train to prepare. You stay at the ready. You have designated people in these assemblies or these soft places to prepare themselves so that they don't become victims of somebody else's tyranny, victims of somebody else's sickness. And what's more sick than anything is these so-called, I'm telling you, we need to fire everybody in the House and fire everybody in the Senate and fire the president, including the vice president, downtown Willie Brown, Kamala Harris. Fire them all. The bills are expected to pass the House, but will face a steep upclimb in the Senate as Democrats hold a slim 50-50 majority. And no matter what, Kamala Harris is going, she don't give a damn about what's right and wrong. Because true passion and land, she's going to vote and use her little veto for all the Democrats. And would need significant Republican support to overcome the legislative filibuster. You ain't going to get it not in the Senate. Thank y'all for the Senate. Still, the legislation remains a priority of the Biden administration. The Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer committed to putting the Bipartisan Background Checks Act on the Senate floor for a vote and suggests having discussions after on how to work with Republicans. Listen, Democrats know it's a bunch of rhetoric, it's theater, it's circus. You ain't going to work with the Republicans. You ain't never try to work with the Republicans. You don't give a damn about working with the Republicans. And the Republicans have now finally got their head out their 4 point of contact, and they realize They ain't no working with y'all. So it's time for the Republicans to stick together just like the Democrats do and oppose y'all every single time you even sneeze something about gun. So it's going to fail in the Senate. So the House didn't do them but just waste their time, just like they did with all these impeachments of Donald Trump. They wasted their time. Where was I at? Okay. Well, have the good sister have had this bill twice in the past when they sent it over to us the last time. They went into Mitch McConnell's legislative graveyard. The legislative graveyard is over H.R. 8. We'll be on the floor of the Senate, and we will see where everybody stands, Schumer says. No more thoughts and prayers. A vote is what we need, a vote. When asked what will happen for Senate Democrats to get to 60 votes on the legislation, Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut said that they have been ongoing conversations to get Republicans to sign. And let me tell y'all something. If one Republican sign, fire them. Get rid of them. Get them out. There have been ongoing conversations off and on the way, through. And, I think Senator Schumer was clear that the initiative vote would be on H.R. 8. And then we will talk about what might be advisable and necessary to pass it, he told the reporters. And Senator Chris Murphy, also a Connecticut Democrat, expressed hope some sort of gun control legislation could pass in the Senate. It ain't going to pass. You ain't getting the 60. I just think that we're living in such a different world in 2013 and much has changed. We all live in a different world. When you get to the Supreme Court and make homosexuality a law in 2015, we do live in a different world. 6,500 years. The Bible speaks about it. They already classified it as certain sickness, and now all of a sudden it's lawful. Anyway, whatever. I just think that you can't compare 2013 to 2021. I think that there are a lot of Republican senators that are thinking about voting for the proposal allowing them to get on the right issue, Murphy said, who represent Connecticut and Sandy Hook shootings took place. He added, and we will see where the people stand. We sure will, and maybe we will get the votes, and if we don't, we'll come together and figure out how we're going to get this done, because we have to get it done. The White House has also said that gun control legislation is the priority of President Joe Biden. I will say Joe Biden going to change his mind tomorrow. He don't know what in the world he's saying. I will say that the president is somebody throughout his career who has advocated for smart gun safety measures. Press Secretary Jen Janowski said at the White House briefing last month, adding that the president is not afraid of standing up to the NRA. He's done it multiple times and won. No, he hasn't. On the background checks and range of issues, and it is a priority to him on a personal level. Ben Lamech, an executive director of Brady PAC, the sister organization of the gun violence prevention of the Brady campaign, praised the House members who supported the legislation. Members of the House of Representatives made it clear with bipartisan support where they stand on preventing a countless numbers of deaths from happening again in the future between now and 2022. Brady PAC will make sure every voter knows and doesn't forget who did and did not vote for his life-saving piece of legislation that 90% of Americans support. Well, who are those 90% of Americans support this? That is a lie from the pit of hell. We have about 330 to 370 million people in this country, and there are more guns in this country in the hands of Americans than there are citizens. So who do you think the side of the Americans is on? We're not following Australia and Germany and China and everybody else to where the people are going to be walking in lockstep and tuned to the government, goose stepping at some foreign song. Anyway, I done read this whole thing. Yeah, I read the whole article, man. Anyway, I just thought I'd do my job, at least do my fair share and inform you. If you want to know more, come and check out my Patreon channel, link down below, all right? Y'all have a wonderful wonderful day. Sorry I even had to waste your time on stuff like this, but I know many of you appreciate it because you don't have to go through and read all this nonsense and rhetoric.